to Creative Vitality Jam Sessions. Here we have intimate conversations with extraordinary dance and theater artists about reimagining creativity and supporting and building community. CVJS and I walk in solidarity and as allies for equality, justice, and respect. President elect Biden and Vice President elect Kamala Harris preach unity and healing. I say let's join them. I'm Helen Pickett, and today's guest is Whitney Huell. She's a dancer with Kansas City Ballet, and Whitney and I have known each other since 2009. Hello, Whitney.
Hi, Helen.
Hi, and welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, I got to say right off the bat, I actually saved the question for the end, but I'm just going to go there. Whitney and I filmed for a half day on Saturday her new solo for Kansas City Ballet, and it I posted a few pictures to Instagram, and it was such a wonderful day. I remember when I showed Whitney, I said, Whitney, you got to see this. And Whitney, what was your reaction when you saw it the first time, what you were dancing in?
Oh, it was awesome. It looked like a mystical land. It's amazing what they can do with a set because it was literally just Marley, some leaves, and a tree. But then when they added those lights in, it like transformed it. It was awesome.
Don't forget the ever mystical haze.
Yeah.
that makes it pretty amazing. Yeah, it was a wonderful shoot. We'll get to that question. I just seeing you now was I just was reminded. So Whitney, first question for everyone. What part of the world are you in?
I'm in the Midwest. I'm in Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay. And actually I know that we have to get this interview going, this conversation, because you've got to get it to class, which is great. I'm so happy that the pods are working and everything in Kansas City. So Whitney, I want to start with your Bachelor of Silence. Oh my God. There we go. Bachelor of Science in Ballet and Psychology from Indiana University that you finished in not 4, but 3 years. And is it a double major?
So with the ballet program at IU, well, I went to Indiana University, and so they have an option, what's called a Bachelor of Science in Music, because the ballet school is technically in the School of Music, and then an outside field in whatever. So it's technically more than a minor and less than a major, the psychology portion of it, but it's like a dual program in one. So it's a really good option if you want to go to college, but you're not like, okay, so what am I going to do with the ballet degree? Can I study something else, which will act as like that, degree as well. And so that's why I chose psychology, kind of just on a whim, taking a general education class in my freshman year, and I really liked it. I loved like human behavior and like, the study of it and everything. And so after I took that intro class, I knew that's what I wanted my outside field to be. But yeah, typically it's supposed to take 4 years, but I wanted to dance. So it's like, let's get this done. So I was taking like 19 plus credit hours every semester to finish that soon. And I finished the summer of 2007, right before I went to Ballet West 2.
That's amazing. Again, great example of something that I always say to, let's say college age kids, and let's say kids around that age that aren't in college but are wondering about a career. And I say, yeah, if you want it, you'll find a way to do it. And you did just that. You just said, I want to dance. I got to get this degree done. So going along those lines, could psychology be a second career or the career after dance?
I think it could possibly be. I'm not really sure exactly what career that would be, but I did enjoy studying it. I really liked this class I took called Behavioral Neuroscience. I was like just blown away about dopamines and all this. Like, I thought that was really cool. So I wouldn't be opposed to maybe going back to school and maybe getting a master's. But the thing is, I want to know exactly what I want to do with it before I spend the money on more education, But it does interest me. And so that could possibly be an outlet. I'm just not really sure exactly how just yet. But I did love it, and I would totally go back to it.
So I know I'm begging this point a lot, but so when you said it was behavioral science in neuroscience, is that what you said?
Behavioral neuroscience was the class.
All
Yeah.
right. Would that by any chance include like mirror neurons? How we, how human beings from the time we're like out of the womb, how we learn?
Yeah, I think, well, what it did is talked about like the science behind everything, like what happens when certain things happen to your body, like when something happy, what is that, And so that was, I mean, this was years ago. I haven't been in school at like over 10 years, so I've forgotten a lot of what I learned. But yeah, it was definitely interesting to see like cause and effect, like what happens when everything happens. And another one of your questions, I think, was have you been able to use that in ballet?
Exactly.
I think I have, like, just to like positive and negative reinforcement, whether it's like you're given it or whether when sometimes I teach and I'm like, oh, this would be good if I, if you say nice things to your students, that you'll get more out of them, things like that. And I've noticed that just being in the studio, and it helps you kind of navigate different personalities that come in. Like some people are very peppy, some people are very moody. And I think having that knowledge of how people behave is very helpful in the studio.
And outside the studio.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
true.
no, I mean, absolutely. Yeah, it helps a person be more neutral, right? And so you're not affected by the highs and lows of other people as much. I mean,
Exactly.
it's possible as an artist, right? Wow, fascinating. So yeah, so you mentioned it, but you joined Ballet West 2 in 2007, directly after finishing your college at Summer, then went there. And then you were accepted into the main company in 2009. And in 2011, you were named one of the top 25 to watch. And in 2014, you joined Kansas City Ballet. I'm speeding through your career. In both companies, you have had many chances to work with living choreographers and perform rep. We worked together in both companies. Can you give us your perspective about having this mixture of opportunity, the benefits that stand out, A, and working on rep, and then B, the benefits that stand out working with creating new work? I'm asking a whole lot of questions, so I can go over them again. But then, do you prefer one over the other, and why would that be?
Okay. So yeah, it's been really neat being at one company and then coming to the second company that I'm with, Kansas City Ballet, and having stagers that were at Ballet West, and also choreographers, yourself included. And that's been awesome because you not only get to work with them a second time, but you get to work with them with different people. And it's interesting to see how, I mean, you obviously fit in both companies, but when you're at a new company, how do they work with those dancers versus the other dancers, or how does the piece look? Especially if it's like maybe the same piece. Because we did the lottery, Val Caniparoli's The Lottery, here at Kansas City Ballet, but we also did it at Ballet West. And I actually was an understudy at Ballet West, and I got to do it here. So it's been nice. It's like I didn't get the opportunity then, but then I got it now. So that was really exciting. It's also exciting when the choreographer creates something new, because it's you're part of something original. You get to be a part of the new work. But then also with the staging, you can kind of, it's like a challenge to see what you can do with the work. you know. So it's been really neat. And it also has happened from IU to Ballet West. Elise Bourne, she set Who Cares at IU. And then I saw her again at Ballet West when I was in the second company, actually. And she set Stars and Stripes. So it's amazing how these people, like the dance world is amazing because you just see the same people and you get to experience things with them again, you know, unexpectedly, which is really nice.
Yeah, and what I'm reminded of, um, there's a great joy in seeing dancers over again, you know, like either from that have traveled through different companies, or to go back a second time, and just to be able to step into a human being's career, you know, along the way, and see the growth and see what this young being, how they've matured into this beautiful artist. It's you know how they say the dance world is small, but it is in the most wonderful way. And it also is always a reminder to be kind, because the dance world is small and you're going to meet people again, and it's harder to undo, you know, but you know, learning by doing, that's what I say, you know, learning by doing. Yeah. Dib. Okay, I thought you had a comment. Okay. Whitney, what were some of the standout roles for you as a dancer? What roles made you reimagine yourself as a dancer and a human being?
Okay, well, most recent standout role, I think was from your ballet Pedal. Um, it was probably one of the most like freeing and I guess I've never felt more focused on stage before. You know, I think in the very beginning when I worked with you, how you were like, tell a story with everything that you do. Maybe I didn't understand it as much when I was younger. And then this time around when you came, and I really felt that. And I felt so present. And it was like a crazy feeling on stage, and also connecting with each dancer that you see, you know, on stage. It was like it's a story. It felt like I was like in a book, like making a story, you know, like while I was on stage. So that was pretty exciting. And then I also, you know, all the jumps and everything, like it was so fun being tossed and everything like that was really fun. Another time was in middle, which I know we're going to talk about later, but that was so exciting for me. And both of those roles were very pivotal for me because you know, not only getting to do them and having that opportunity, but also being first cast for them, like that meant something to me, because that doesn't always happen for me. Like I do get to do a lot of you know, pivotal and leading roles, but not always first cast. So that was like an extra special treat in my career. And then obviously Sugar Plum was amazing, because I didn't think that that would be something that would be for me, or that I would be able to do. You know, I always, like in the back of my mind, wanted to, but I was always kind of like afraid to want to, if that makes any sense.
Totally does.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. To really put out. It's a very good point you make, Whitney, because I think we all do that when we really see something, that it's not just a want, but it's like a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Very often we stop ourselves from, you know, I'm a big believer in you know, putting things out in the world, you know, visualizing something and putting it out there. I've learned over the years the timeline can mess you up. So you just have to put it out there and just have faith that it's going to come to pass. But I know what you mean about that. And I think a lot of people do that. And I think there is no harm in putting the dream out there and formulating that dream and letting it go. because you never know. That's what I can say at this age. So you absolutely deserved to do Sugar Plums. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. But I have to say about watching you in pedal, I saw a strength and an independence in you in that role that blew me away. It was remarkable. You were so shiny, and you're right. Your presence made that role. You dropped in, and there was nothing that was going to make you deviate and go somewhere else. You were on that stage, and I thought you were remarkable in the role. You were just remarkable. It was a joy to watch you. And also, you make sure, so you're talking about rep. It's always, from my side, important that I change things for the dancer if something doesn't feel right on them. Because I feel like it's not just the dancer to fit into an existing role. It's also the choreographer's job, if they're live, to make that role more theirs. Do you find that? Does that happen often with stagers? Do you like?
Yeah, sometimes they'll give you options. I think it depends on like what kind of ballet it is. Like if it's more classical, then it's like kind of restrictive or what you just have to make it work, you know. But yeah, with more contemporary work, you know, I know you gave me several options to do for, you know, this can be a low arabesque, or this can just be, you know, and I think this would be better if you did this. And so, yeah, those options are very helpful, and they make you feel more comfortable with the role. Like you're not trying to do something that your body doesn't look good doing, you know, even if you're doing it correctly, it might not look that great on you as it did on a previous dancer, but then this move might really show you off. So I think that's been very helpful to have, you know, choreographers that are willing to make the dancers look their best.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see here. In 2014, when you joined Kansas City Ballet, you became the second African-American female ever to join the company. Remarkable. Then in 2018, you were featured, here we go, Sugar Plum, in Sugar Plum Fairy, in Devin Carney's production of the Nutcracker, becoming the first African-American in Kansas City Ballet's history to perform the role. Can you speak about these pivotal experiences and what they meant to you?
Yeah. So when I first joined in 2014, I didn't know what the history was of, you know, any, you know, the Black dancers. I know there had been quite a few Black males, but I wasn't sure about Black females. And one day I was leaving the studio and this woman was coming in and she stopped me in my tracks and she goes, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited you're here." She's like, "Do you know that you're the first Black female to be in the company since the 1970s?" And I was like, what? Like, I didn't know that, Helen. Like, I was like, oh my gosh. And so it was a big deal to me, not only for me being happy that I'm in a company here, but also it meant something to the community. And that meant something to me, you know? And, you know, there's a prevalent Black population in KC. It's not, you know, it's not that small. So it seems like they've been waiting for that, you know? So it meant a big deal to be in the company. And then it meant a big deal for not only being in the company, but then to receive leading roles and for them to actually see me in roles, you know, doing something not in the back, you know? So that's, I think, you know, yeah, the role was amazing, but it was also amazing that I could bring something new to the stage that people had been waiting for. And so that made me feel like I'm doing my part, like I'm, you know, breaking a barrier, you know, that I can show other little brown girls that they could do it too, you know? So that has been very meaningful for me. And coming here, I know, like when I came here and I heard that and I knew that was happening, I knew I was in the right place. Like I was like, I'm supposed to be here.
That's right. Yeah, and then the fairy tale came true and you were the Sugar Plum Fairy. How was it to dance that when you were in it for you?
it felt so exciting. My mom came out for my first show, and it was just so special. Helen, it felt like, you know, the tutu is so gorgeous. I felt like a princess. It was amazing. It was amazing feeling. It's hard. It's so hard. It's still hard after it's been 3 years now. So and we're working on it now, just the pas de deux section. And even just doing the pas de deux, I'm like, man, this is hard. But it's good. I love a challenge, you know, like even though Sugar Plum is more, you know, footwork and things like that. And those are like my biggest challenges, is like in betweens, transitions, that kind of thing. I'm more of a turn and jump, you know. So having this challenge of being delicate and you know, using my feet and everything, it has challenged me in a good way. It makes me work on those things, and also makes me feel like, you know, I've reached a goal. So it was amazing.
Look at that. Sugar Plum Fairy helped you reimagine yourself. It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
You never know, right? You never know what role's going to do it.
You never know like what could be. Like, it was in the back of my mind. I did want it, but you know, I was afraid to want it. And then when I see my name on the you know, rehearsal schedule, I was like, is this real? You know, that was such a cool feeling, you know, because there's a lot of ups and downs, and in my career there've been a lot of ups and downs, like, oh, I'm not doing anything, like, is it worth it, da, 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 you know, I feel like I'm working so hard and not getting anything. And then that happened, and I was like, okay. Like,
Yeah.
it lets you step back and just realize it's not going to be amazing all the time, but when it is amazing, it's amazing.
Yeah. Also, really important thing you just said about, you know, the glamour of ballet. it it needs a lot of polishing a lot of the time. You know what I mean? And that is being an artist. That is being an artist. And part of being an artist is what you've done and what so many people do. You stick it out. And then you see your name on the cast list. And then you see yourself in 2 first cast roles. And then it's like that thing happens that gives you the strength, more strength again, and the faith. It's the arts. It's a beautiful roller coaster, and it's a scary wild ride too, right?
Exactly.
Okay. I have to ask you, because in the middle, somewhat elevated, is what I call, when I was in the company, the Frankfurt Ballet Nutcracker, because we did it a lot, right? We did it a lot. And I mean, it's a great ballet. And I did 4 roles in that ballet. And I happen to have done, and I'm going to divulge something, I wasn't that good at this particular role, but your role, the jeté girl, is a very hard role. It's because of where it is, you've got a back-to-back solo from the duet. The duet's quite long, and then you go into, you know, so I have to ask you, you did the jeté role and in the middle somewhat elevated, and it's a tough role. And how was it to learn and dance the role? So you said you were first cast, and did Thierry, did he teach it?
Mm-hmm.
So wonderful guy.
He's
And
awesome.
a really wonderful person, and a magnificent partner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I used to say his hands were like cat paws. They were so soft and
strong and big. Like,
and then at the same time, like, just formed around you, didn't grip, didn't like hurt. It was amazing.
Oh, yeah, it was great.
So how was it to learn the role, to dance the role? And did you have famous, well, okay, I'm just like all over the place with my words today. Did you have favorite moments?
Well, yes, I mean, every time, because I guess I had seen the ballet, like snippets of the ballet, but I had never seen it in its full length before. So every time, like when he, you know, I got called to learn Jeté Girl or whatever, and he was showing me each step, I was like, ooh, like I like tricks and like, you know, the tombe coupe jeté, turn, you know, like that was right up my alley. It was everything he showed. I was like, oh, I can't wait to try this. I can't wait to try it. Like literally, I was like a little puppy, like giddy puppy when he was showing everything. Cause especially in the solo, you know, so the learning process was awesome because I didn't know all the steps already. So it was a surprise to see what was next, you know, and I really liked it. And my favorite parts were I did like in the paw where the girl does like a with her legs, it does that like kind of envelope thing. That was one of my favorite parts. In the solo, of course, the part I just talked about, the tombe coupe jeté, turn, and then trying to stick the, you know, release into arabesque. And then also, yeah. Yeah. And then also the penché on point, because I've never really had to do those on stage. And so that was like a fun challenge. And I'd always be like, okay, make it look good. And luckily they got a picture of it in the, you know, when they were taking photos and everything. And so it was so exciting. I say probably the toughest thing for me with it was music. I am not a very good counter, Helen. Like, and so when my counts went out the window, I was like, So I started listening to the crashes, and I became very familiar with all like the embellishments in the sounds and things like that. Because more often than not, my poor little counts just like I got so into it. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Just keep going. And I was like, oh, there's the crash. Okay, you know. So that was probably the hardest part for me was musicality. And it was pretty puffy. But I think we were in pretty good shape then because of all the different other things we were doing. Like I think I was in every single piece or almost every single piece in that rep or learning it. So my stamina was pretty good. And so I think that helped me a lot because it was a pretty puffy ballet. But yeah, Thierry was amazing. He's so cool with his leather jacket and like yeah, and when he was about to leave, I was like, "Don't go, stay," because when people come from the outside, it gives you like, you know, it's a new eye, it's a new perspective, it's a new vision that they have, and you don't get that all year. I mean, I love the staff, you know, at KCB, but just having those random outside, you know, people come in is really refreshing, and so I like didn't want him to leave.
Well, I always say it's like your favorite aunt and uncle are coming.
Mm-hmm.
Mom and dad have to take care of you all year.
True.
And have to supply inspiration all year. And then we get to waltz in and be like, hi. And then everybody loves you and nobody wants you to leave yet. But Thierry is something special. Yeah. I always, when you were talking about counts, one thing that really came to me, I will never, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the turn section.
Yeah, before the turn, and then two people went together. Yeah. Yeah, it was myself and Lamine were together on that part. And like sometimes one of us would like, I would always stay with him no matter what, because I could see him.
Right.
But sometimes I was like, this isn't right. And then sometimes like, oh, I did that wrong, you know?
And then you know what else? You know, the precipite steps, precipite from the corner with women that are dancing 2 and 2.
Yeah, I don't think I was in that section, but I remember watching.
The Jeté girl isn't in that section.
Yeah, I wasn't in that section.
Because you just danced before.
Yeah.
Yeah, the beginning is a count paradise. Holy crap. Yes. Oh my God, these visions. Okay. So Whitney, we just finished filming your new solo that I made for you. That I choreographed, that we worked on together, right? Over Zoom, of course, all over Zoom. Started in your apartment, as all of these choreographies have started for me, at least during this time. And then luckily we got to go to the studio and feel the space. And then going to the soundstage of Kansas City PBS. How was it to work with film? Was the performative aspect different, or how was it different? and any challenges?
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed it. It was different because you didn't do the one and done like with the performance. Like it's just hit it and quit it, like it wasn't that. It was you did it and then you get another chance. And then you get another chance. And then you get another chance. So it was nice. It was like a ton of second chances. And I'd say the only downside to that though is you get tired, and so even though you get to do it again, you're not as, filled up with energy as you were in the very beginning. But I really liked it. I love having the actual setting, like, because you were telling me, oh, it's going to be, you're going to be have leaves and all this, but you don't know what that feels like until you're in it. And so actually seeing the set and seeing the lights and the haze, it gets you more into the story. So that was really nice. And I also like the solo, it starts stationary and it's all focused on the back. So I kind of got to really get into the character. And I felt like every time we filmed that part in the beginning, I felt more and more in character. Like, I mean, I don't know if you know this, but sometimes I would be yawning like while I was doing it because I'm supposed to be waking up. And sometimes, like, as I was doing it, I'd be like, oh, I'd like yawn and actually yawn. So yeah, it was really cool. I really enjoyed it. And then sometimes we filmed things different directions than we did in the studio, so everything was kind of flat on, but because of where the lights were coming from, we flipped it around. And that was a little discombobulating. Remember when I like did the two turns and then I was facing the moonlight instead of the sunlight? Because it was just very like, oh, there's these lights, so that was a little bit of a challenge, but it was really cool to do it in different ways and to try, different things with the movement, and to know that, there was a close-up camera but also like a wide shot. So then I was thinking more about my face on the close-up section. And it's interesting because in the studio, I had a mask on, so I didn't really know what my like mouth area was doing. So I had to be like a little more focused on what my face was doing on the set, because I, obviously wasn't, I might have been using it under the mask, but not as much because it's a little, restrictive. So it makes you think. I felt like I was in my head a little more in the film, instead of just being kind of free and more present, just because I was thinking about those different things. But I do like the fact that you get a do-over. You can hold something in one take and then hold something in another take, and they're going to combine those so it looks like you had the perfect performance.
Okay, well, okay. Now wait a minute here. Okay, now I have to do that. Okay. No, but I also, when you talked about that you face the moonlight instead of the sunrise, the funny thing is, I heard you saying that, but I thought, wow, that was beautiful. So it's also what you feel like inside and what the outside perceives. There was that one time that we did From the Attitude Turn, and I felt like that was the freest time you did it, because we'd done it a few times and you were a little tired. And sometimes that tiredness is really beneficial, because it used to make me drop in more. I don't know if you have that experience.
Yeah, there was a day last week where I had run Grandpa like a million times, and I had that filming for that, and I was exhausted. And so when I had your rehearsal, I was like, uh-oh, like, I hope this goes okay. And it went really well. And I was like, whoa, I was like, maybe just kind of being like kind of chill and tired helped me, so.
Because you had to focus on what you had to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it was really fun. Pardon me. Whew, I got all excited there. Boy, am I flustered. Okay. Can you share a favorite or impactful memory from your creative life?
Yes, I was thinking about this one. So when I was in high school, I went to a performing arts high school. It's called the Governor's School for the Arts and Humanities in South Carolina. And I went there as a ninth grader, and my old studio, I got to do roles, and I loved ballet, but I was never like a favorite or anything like that. Like I didn't know what could be as far as like dance. I just knew I loved it. And I went there, and I remember like a few like weeks in, my teacher took me aside and he goes, Whitney, he goes, "You're unlimited." And he goes, "You have these excellent proportions. You can do anything." He goes, "You're unlimited." And no one had ever spoken to me like that before. Like, and then it really like lit a fire inside of me. It like gave me more passion for dance, and it made me feel like I was somebody, in the studio, and that I could do this as a career. Like, cause I had never really felt that for myself. I just knew I liked doing these movements. It's fun. But when he told me that I was unlimited, I felt, empowered. And I've never forgotten that.
What a beautiful thing to hear. Yeah, that would be unforgettable. That's a beautiful moment. Do you have an insight or daily inspiration that you can share about living a creative life?
I think my daily inspiration is ballet class.
Nice.
I know a lot of people, some people don't come to class, or some people are like, before class, I just want to get to rehearsals. I love ballet class. Like literally, especially in plies, and if there's a live pianist, like I am just living a life. I'm like, oh, this is so amazing to do this. Like sometimes I think like, this is such a blessing to be doing this, to be moving my body, to feel this way, to have this opportunity to work on something again and again, to always come back to this like everyday thing, is really special to me. And it feels like a gift. Ballet class to me feels like a gift, and sometimes, class doesn't go that well, but sometimes you like do something you never thought you could do before. And so that's what I love about it, and you're really big into like using your head and épaulement and everything like that. And I've always really loved, using my head and things like that, especially when I discovered that about ballet. When I first started dancing, we did everything with our head facing forward. And like, that's how I learned. And then when I went to other schools, I was like, "Ooh, what are they doing? That's cool. Like, I want to, and so that's how I learned, and so every day I feel like ballet class is like a learning experience for me, even now. And so that's like probably my daily insight.
And I hear you say meditation, right? Because it's home.
Mm-hmm.
I felt the same way, Whitney. I loved class. And up until my third knee operation a few years ago, like 2, 3 years ago, I took, whenever I was in companies, I would take
Yeah.
bar.
I remember you taking at Ballet. You stood behind me. I was like, "Ooh, Helen's standing next to me." I was so excited.
Yeah, the knee's gotten better and better. So, maybe I can just get in and do some things at bar again. But I feel the same way you did. It was that music, right? Just, you're right. It's a blessing. It was just that sometimes was enough to make my reset happen and be like, right. So this feels wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. It's something you can always, it's like there. It's something you can go back to. It's something that's there when the part's not there, when you're not getting what you want. Like, I still have this. This is my time,
Yeah. I always remember, so one of my best girlfriends, Francesca Harper, I danced with her in Frankfurt. Her mom, bless her, she's gone now, but she was the director of the Ailey School for years, Denise Jefferson. Every day. Isn't that amazing? Like,
Yeah.
it feels good. It's just like being in there, and also with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
With everyone, right? In supporting and building a more equitable dance community, are there some specific daily practices that you think we can be more active with or active with?
Well, to make a dance community more equitable? Is that what the question is? Okay. Well, I think it's seeing everyone like my teacher saw me, like seeing everybody as unlimited, not putting limitations on anyone. You know, no matter what they look like, how they dance right now, they might have it in them to dance the way you feel like they should dance later, you know? So I think if we could all kind of try to have that mindset for everyone, like without judgment in the beginning, I think that would really help the field, help, you know, the dancer have more confidence, you know, like you go into a room and then you know someone doesn't like you know, and you haven't even danced yet. Like, you know, but if you go into a room and feel like it's an open place and, you know, if you have the opportunity before anything even happens, I think that would create a more equal space. So I think it's a matter of like thinking, resetting your mind, everybody in the room, not only the person in the front of the room, but the dancer themselves, like, you know, about the people in the front, about the people that are dancing. I think if we have that kind of headspace, that everyone can do anything, that everyone's unlimited, it would really create a more equal space.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. Whitney, it's been a pleasure to speak with you today. And it's been, you know, doubly a pleasure that this kind of caps off this beautiful creative time that we had together in the past couple weeks. And so I really thank you for your openness and your generosity as ever. It was a really beautiful conversation. So thank you. Do you have a website, or is there a way people can find out more about you? Do you have an Instagram handle? I know people can go to kansascityballet.org to find out more about you.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. My handle is JWHUELL. So if you want to see some little dance pictures every now and then, I'm not terribly active, but I'm trying to get better at it and everything. But you could go to Instagram.
Okay. And also, in addition, there will be a short bio from Whitney in the description box that will be below the video. And we have new guests every week. Our next interview will feature Professor Thomas F. DeFrantz, professor in the Department of African and African American Studies and Dance, and he's also the director of his own work performance technology group called SLIPPAGE. I want to thank I want to thank Tracey Spina, who always gets this thing going. Thank you, Gracie. I want to thank the dance community for all the support and all the love all the years, and Whitney. I want to thank
Helen. This has been great. It's been great to work with you too, and it is a nice ending to our working together the past few weeks.
Yeah, the ending for now. We don't know what's in the future. So thank you so much. Keep reimagining the creativity, and I'll see you soon. Bye.